The Cinderella season is over for your Arizona State Sun Devils. But what nobody believed, they showed the world that there should have been some. They showed the world their fight. They showed the world their heart. And they showed every single one of you Texas fans, Sun Devil fans, longtime fans, new fans, journalists, media members, everybody. They showed you exactly who they are. We're going to be right back with a college football playoff peach game post-game show right after this 30-second countdown. Oh, everybody. Hello, and welcome in to the PHNX Sun Devils post-game show. The sad music is playing. Over 805 of you in here right now. Arizona State season snatched by the Texas Longhorns in a double overtime Peach Bowl thriller. Arizona State gave it everything they had. They dropped 39-31 after being down 17-3 at the half to be counted out, not just in this game, but for the season. Arizona State fought when it mattered most, fought when everything felt like it was impossible, and they absolutely did it. But it wasn't enough. You can talk about a targeting play. You can talk about Arizona State's defense crumbling in the moment. At the end of the day, Texas did play like the better team. The better team opened up the game with 14 points. The better team closed the game with 15 points. And the better team is advancing. But not the better team in the same margin that Texas fans thought. Texas fans, I would expect you to come in here, yes, brag. Talk about how Texas is still able to compete for a college football championship. But you have to give credit to the Sun Devils. You have to give credit to this team. You have to give credit to the season, to the fans. They traveled out in Atlanta. Anthony Totri will be joining us eventually. We are going to have by the numbers. We are going to have bottle service, who is going to go to a man with a singular number. And I think we all know who that man is. I got Captain Redbeard making all the magic happen. We are live out at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass for our watch party. And we appreciate Neutral for sponsoring this post-game show. Neutral, keep it tasty. Intent P. Xavier, Kimmy, Stevie, Jay, AJ, Josh, Sin, all of you in here right now. Quentin says, this is nothing to brag about, brother. Good game. Samir says, only thing trash is both these fan bases in the comments with the all BS excuses. Okay. Gee says, great game. Skattebo's a dog and a half. Lost Highway says, the targeting should be national outrage. Peter says, the Texas fans, GG to ASU. Y'all gave us a game, man. I can't lie. All love. ASU will never reach a playoff game. That's what Daryl says. All right, brother. Gray Bush says, legit one of the best games I've watched in a long time. And let's start with that. Let's start with the fact that this team put together unequivocally the best game in the college football playoffs. And maybe I'm just blinded by bias right now, Kyle. The best college football playoff game since... Y'all let me know in the chat. Y'all let me know how far back do we go? Was it last year? Was it the year before? Y'all let me know. Listen, Texas has a massive budget. They were the Goliath. But at the end of the day, David could not just get it enough. Appreciate all of you joining us in here today. Let's start breaking down this game just by looking at this Arizona State season as a whole. I know that it's really disappointing, extremely disappointing, that Arizona State was not able to capitalize on this game. I mean, they were in a position to win. They were absolutely in a position to win. They should have won. In fact, I would venture to say you're up in overtime. Your defense needs a stop, and you just can't get it. And I want everybody to know that this Arizona State team, they did give it absolutely everything that they could. Absolutely everything humanly possible under the sun. Cam Skattebo was throwing up on the sidelines. Cam Skattebo was down kneeling, had to be taken out of plays, and I promise you, if you watch Cam Skattebo, which might have been Texas fans a lot of their first times, he doesn't do that. That's not him. He begs to stay in games. Oh, man, I'm sending out a tweet to the people. Let you know that we are live recapping a nail-biter of a game and an incredible season for ASU. Make sure y'all hit that like button. If you want your super chat read, go ahead and drop that in there. I will read all super chats live on air right now. I am riding solo, but Captain Redbeard, I know you're busy too. I need you to give me 30 seconds. How do you feel looking back at this ASU season as a whole now that it has officially come to an end?
First of all, I have to get a tattoo.
Yes, you do.
Second of all, one of the greatest seasons I can remember in college football. The greatest story in college football this year, without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Turning this team from 3-9 last year, picked last by the media, into, conference champions, making it to the college football playoffs, ranked 4 in the new format. It's truly an incredible thing. And, the more we talked about it all year, it just felt like we were watching and witnessing, being part of a movie. It was really, It was really just a magical season. Great coaching from the offensive side and defensive side of the ball. This team really improved throughout the year.
Absolutely.
You saw some flaws at the beginning of the year with Sam Leavitt being a freshman quarterback. You saw some flaws from this team. You didn't know how many games they would win. They looked good at times, but they weren't always the most convincing, especially after some early losses. But, yeah, overall, I would say, just an incredible season. You should be very proud, very happy as a Sun Devil fan. They put up a great fight today in this game, made it closer than, I want to say, 80% of people thought around the country.
So many people
all
thought
the media,
it was over.
I didn't know a single media person that picked ASU.
There were some people who did, but it kind of felt like they were doing it just for betting.
On large media personalities.
Yeah.
I didn't know a single one that picked ASU, and they made it close. They took it to double OT,
They did make it close. We have a super chat from Faye Lee, says, refs stole this win from us. Would have won this in regulation without any OT. Even the ESPN commentators and rules analysts said it was targeting. ASU is all heart. Forks up. It is absolutely brutal. It is absolutely brutal to have your season snatched like that, right? That was targeting. And I know there are going to be Texas fans who say that it wasn't targeting. And I get it. But and you're going to say that because it's your team. But it was targeting. It was helmet to helmet. That rule is put in to protect the player, and the play was made, and it hurt the player. I'm surprised Melquan Stovall was actually even able to come back into this game. But in order to get to the end, we have to go to the beginning as well. And that starts with how ASU started this game, okay? ASU started off, their offense could not handle it. Offensive line was getting attacked, completely suffocated. Sam Leavitt had no time to throw. Texas was showing up in the way that Texas fans absolutely thought that they would. And that was big, physical, and dominant. And that is exactly what happened at the beginning of the game. And you felt like Arizona State was frustrated. You felt like Sam Leavitt was frustrated. Cam Skattebo was frustrated. And then they settled into the game a little bit. And they were able to turn offensive drives, but they weren't able to convert it. They weren't able to convert it into points. And that was the big problem here, because you go in down 13 points at the half. If you don't allow Texas to get off to the Quinn start, Quinn Ewers in this offense came out on fire. Came out ready because of probably the amount of talk that Sam Leavitt, who, by the way, Sam Leavitt did play like the better quarterback tonight. But the amount of talk and what ASU has said, all going out there. And Texas stepped up, and they absolutely delivered up top. Touchdown within 2 plays from Ewers, 2 great passes, 2 great receptions, put up 7 on the board. Kick return, boom, all the way back for a touchdown. ASU immediately down after scoring 3 points on their opening drive. It's 14-3, and you feel like it's over, right? You just feel like Texas is too suffocating. You feel like there's no way that you get past what was a national championship favorite at multiple points. And yeah, Sam Leavitt still lost the game. But if you watch the game and you don't think Sam Leavitt was the better quarterback, you do have bias. Because what Quinn Ewers was set up with, you can look at his stat line. His stat line was better. But if you watch the game if you saw the amount of time that Sam Leavitt had to throw, had to make plays, and the type of weapons and the payroll that Sam Leavitt has around him, unequivocally Sam Leavitt played like the better quarterback. But it also comes down to Cam Skattebo as well. Cam Skattebo, 30 carries, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. In the air, 8 receptions, 99 yards with a long of 62. Oh, and guess what? 42 yards passing. So if we do all-purpose yards, rushing, receiving, and passing, that's 99 plus 42 is 132 plus 143 is 275. 275 all-purpose yards for Cam Skattebo. And y'all told me he couldn't do it. Y'all told me he couldn't do it. Ugh. I'm just tweeting out right now, tweeting out to the nation. Appreciate every single one of you. I want to remind everybody, this was a watch-along, turned into a post-game show. Over 400 of you watching right now. And Travioli says, we can't let them get away with that targeting call. It was definitely money involved. We need them to be held accountable. I get it, and I feel that way too, but at the same time, it's done and it's gone. And I'm really upset. I'm really upset that they lost, but I have this overwhelming sense of pride. Overwhelming sense of this team, especially because very easily with the way they were playing in the first half, they could have just rolled over. They could have just said, you know what, we're not the better team. We were outplayed. We were out-physical. We were outmatched. Everything that everybody said about Texas was right. But you want to know what they did? They went into halftime and they came out and they played a hell of a defensive game, absolutely shutting down Texas for the entire half. And then on offense, they were able to capitalize big plays, fake punts. Cam Skattebo throwing the ball for a 42-yard touchdown to Malik McClain. And sure, Arizona State had to throw everything against the wall to see what would stick. That is 1,000% unequivocally a fact. But that's what you do when you're the underdog. That's what you do when you're David against Goliath. That's what you do when you're against the SEC. Dalton says, proud to lose. Not proud to lose, Dalton. Thank you for your super chat. But proud of this team going from predicted to be last in the conference, one of the worst in the country, 3 wins last season, to not only winning the Big 12, to not only making the college football playoffs, but taking a team that everybody said they would whoop by 40. You, Dalton, are probably the same Texas fan that walked into this game and said ASU stood no chance. Said ASU had 0 chance at all to win this game, to compete with Texas, SEC versus Big 12, and ASU gave you the damn good run for your money. And congrats, you pulled it out at the end. You played like the better team because the better team finds ways to win that game. But we had y'all scared. We played damn good, and without wide receiver number 1 as well. Dick with a $10 super chat. Thank you. Dick Talkster says, 35-year-old U of A fan and alumni. I love Dilly and this ASU team. First time I've rooted for the Devils in my life. What a game. Dilly can make ASU what it should be, an NCAA football giant on the West Coast. Thank you for your super chat. I agree. And, of course, Kenny Dillingham locked up to another extension. We will be talking about that later. We'll be talking about so much more on this show. Appreciate all of you making sure that you stick around right here on this post-game show. We have so much more coming up. We have By the Numbers. We have Bottle Service. We have Drive of the Game by Sanderson Ford. We have all of that. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button. All of you who are in here right now. Rockets fan says, you want to have a cookie for having us scared? I'd rather walk away with the win. Dude, yeah, Kyle, I'd rather walk away with the win too. I'm not talking about that I'm happy they lost. Of course I'm not happy they lost. And I will keep on talking about why they lost as well. But how could you not be proud of this team? Y'all had the expectations. Y'all went into the season as a favorite to win the championship. You're doing all of that. But guess what? We're still coming. This is not a one-year thing for ASU. This is not a flash in the pan. We have so much more coming in for all of you. But before that, we do have to reach a quick break. Want to shout out our friends over at Neutral. Big Time Neutral, powering this show and keeping it tasty in Tempe. I had a couple neutrals today. It helped me get through this show and get through the bad moments as well. And you know what helps me deal with sore winners? Like you Texas fans, it's Neutral. And of course, they're always keeping it tasty in Tempe. They'll keep it tasty throughout the offseason. They'll keep it tasty throughout all of next season as well. And this is a public service announcement for all hard seltzer lovers. Neutral tastes good. Real good. All sorts of different flavors. I had a couple oranges today. I had a black cherry. Had all of that. And ASU made it taste so much sweeter. Real ingredients, vodka, real juice, real seltzer, so many different flavors. Cranberry apples, Totree's flavor. Totree will be calling in later. I really like the strawberry lemonade. Keep it tasty. Enjoy responsibly. 2024 Anheuser-Busch Neutrals of flavored vodka and carbonation out of St. Louis, Missouri. I also want to thank our friends over at Brandon Bills, who did giveaways at our watch party today at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. I'm wearing a Brandon Bills hat right now. They have you covered with performance and with style. And of course, they are partners with your Big 12 champion, Arizona State Sun Devils. You guys are terrible, terrible, terrible winners. You Texas fans are just all being so awful. Maybe you would look better if you felt better, and you'll felt better if you look better over with the Brandon Bills hat. They have everything: snapbacks, truckers, fitted, beanies, and tees, and more. And they're here to get you 20% off your first order. A local company out of Mesa, Arizona. Head to BrandonBills.com. Use code PHNX for 20% off your first order. Let's get to a couple more super chats here on the PHNX Sun Devils post-game show. Maze Devil says, ASU Michigan fan here. This team reminds me of the 2020 Michigan team who made an improbable run and built on it. Feel for Cam, going to miss him. Absolutely devastating for Cam Skattebo, but I do feel like this team can continue to build on this. William says, just imagine Texas fans if they didn't get targeting, let alone the hold on by 52 on Ewers' run. Forks up Devils. Great season. You would think Texas would approach this with more humility. You really do think so. Kyle, isn't it kind of insane? Isn't it kind of just ridiculous that Texas fans are coming in here trying to talk about like this was disappointing and disgusting for ASU? I mean, that's pretty insane.
I mean, I talked about this with Totree. Like, Texas fans are delusional. They live in their own world in Austin, Texas, and they believe in, Texas football is life, pretty much. And any other opposing team, any other fans, like, they're not going to respect them. Like, which I don't get, like, you can respect, you can,
it
like,
makes
learn
your
to
win better.
Yeah, you can learn how to respect other players and other people and other fans and still be a fan of your team. Like, I don't understand. I don't know. They're just in their own world down in Austin, Texas, and they got a win today, but it wasn't convincing.
No, it wasn't convincing at all. And again, I'm not going to try to discredit Texas because it discredits ASU, but ASU definitely earned your respect this game. Oh, wow. Wow. Ohio State going up 13-0 early against Oregon. Winner of that game will be taking on Texas. We do have another super chat from Damon, who is the host of our Wildcat Show. Make sure you go show Damon and the Wildcat Show some love there, starting off some new things over there. Damon says, one of the best college football games of all time. Agreed. Of all time. Great season, boys. We appreciate you. I appreciate all of you tuning in, over 300 of you in here right now, continuing this after our live watch along. All of that. We appreciate everything that you guys are doing. I am also going to be checking in with Anthony Totree on when he's going to be able to get in. It's probably going to be a while, but we're going to keep it rocking here. Let's go back to the game. Let's continue to talk about how Texas still ended up with a victory tonight. When Kyle, it got to the point with ASU where it really felt like they were in control of the game, right? It really felt like they actually had the chance to go out there and to put this away. And I don't know if this makes it better or worse, but it was on them. At the end of the day, it was man-to-man. They got beat. I mean, they played zone. But it was man-to-man, mano-a-mano, and they got beat. And Texas capitalized on the big plays. And that's what the good teams do. And G-Man in the chat, I'm going to ban you, just so you know. You can't be saying that stuff, man. You can win, man. That's awesome. Keep winning. Agree with your team. All of that. Saying stuff like that is just absolutely terrible. And, yeah, you're a terrible person. So let's stop with that. 80 says, let's talk about that all-out blitz that led to that touchdown that tied the game and sent it to second overtime. Listen, that was not a good call. Did not like that. 4th and 13, you need one stop. You advance. You move on to the college football semifinals. And guess what? You send the blitz, and Quinn does exactly what he needs to do. He identifies the blitz. He finds somebody wide open right down there, walking right on Easy Street. And I hate that play call. And you know what? Defensively and offensively, the play calling in the first half, I was not a fan of. And then the second half, they came out, Brian Ward, Marcus Arroyo, they made the proper adjustments, attacking the weaknesses and the strengths of Texas. And then it felt like at the end of the game, when it was 4th and 13 and beyond, they snapped back into that beginning state where they were getting out coached, where Texas felt like they knew what was coming next. And that all-out blitz was just not great. Just not great at all. Claude says, I'm a fan of BYU, but Arizona State got robbed. It's obvious that should have been targeting SEC sucks. ESPN is in their hip pocket as well. TX Comby says, terrible winner, says the guy on the record on his podcast, talking so much crap. Again, I haven't been talking crap. All I've said is that ASU could compete, which was what all of you are. What are you showing?
Hey, Ryan, that's for you, buddy.
Let me see. What are you showing?
Crown of the helmet.
Oh, yeah, that's targeting.
Crown of the helmet.
I don't know
buddy.
if they're going to see it.
Not
but,
face mask to face mask.
Yeah, that's targeting. Listen, Texas fans are delusional. And I decided to come in here with a new mentality about myself, right? And I was going to be gracious, and I was going to be like, you know what? I'm going to give you credit where credit's due. Arizona State made it hard, but you guys ended up being the better team. I sat here before the game and I said Arizona State can compete, and Texas fans are being disrespectful for saying that Arizona State cannot compete. And then y'all called me insane. Y'all called me disrespectful. Y'all called me stupid for doing all of that. And guess what? Arizona State damn competed. Let's go ahead and take a look at by the numbers so I can show you just exactly how Arizona State competed. Of course, unfortunately, the only score that matters is 39-31. And of course, by the numbers is presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union, named by Forbes. Passing yards, Texas outgains. Quinn Ewers outgained Sam Leavitt, 322 to 296. Rushing yards, 214. Only 53 yards for this Texas running game, which everybody was saying was going to run roughshod over Arizona State's defense. And defensive line said we couldn't handle it. Arizona State absolutely handled it. Total yards, 510 for ASU, 375 for the Longhorns. Total plays, 97 for ASU, 60 for the Longhorns. And time of possession, 37-54, 22-06. This is absolutely what you look at, a game that Arizona State should have won. Arizona State absolutely should have won this game. And Texas took advantage of the big opportunities. They do what good teams do, and they won when they needed to. And they put up a big play, and they put up points when they needed to. It's the same thing Ohio State's doing right now against Oregon. And they did that. And that's good for them. And I'll give them that credit. But what happened is what I said would happen, which Cam Skattebo would be fine. And by the way, he was sick. I said Sam Leavitt would be fine. This offensive line made it as hard as possible. Mark says with a $5 super chat, wasn't it supposed to be a blowout? What happened to Texas? That's the thing. And Dell says it in the chat, or Dale says, or Die, I'm sorry, I'm blind, says Texas fans just can't give respect when it's due. And that's why I have to take the villain role. That's why I have to go out here and I have to say, like, I have to play the villain, and I have to talk down to you guys, because you simply are not acknowledging the fact that we could have beat you and that we played well. And sure, we did a couple things that got into our own way, and that was really unfortunate, and that made me really upset. But at the end of the day, we were still in it. We were in it. And we're going to have sound from the players. Anthony Totri sending in sound from the players. We're going to get that turned around as well. We even have Deion Sanders, who tagged at Kenny Dillingham. You represent all of us from the Big 12 well, my brother. We are proud of you and your team. God bless you all. You are an awesome coach of the year. He is an awesome coach of the year, but there were some play calls from him and from his defensive coordinator and from his offensive coordinator. And there were not great calls there. But they also played and called a hell of a game in the middle. And again, you can't take away from Texas in this game and the fact that they did do what they had to do to win. Texas boy says Texas kicker makes a field goal in 3 seconds. Arizona State fans, so stop crying. Well, he didn't make it. He didn't make it, and that was coming off of a BS targeting call. Absolutely BS targeting call. And if you do not think it's a targeting call, you're wearing bird orange or you have SEC blinders over your eyes, just like the referees have. Yeah, you shouldn't even have gotten that attempt, right? It truly is incredible, the mental gymnastics that Texas fans are doing. I'm going full heel mode. I don't even care anymore. I'm going absolutely full heel mode at this point, because y'all are just like, I literally do not understand you guys. I genuinely do not understand you guys. You giving us credit is good for you. Like, how can you not notice that? How can you not sit back and say this Arizona State team played a hell of a game, did a hell of a time? They absolutely made us sweat. They took us to overtime. They fought hard after getting punched in the mouth. Cam Skattebo did Cam Skattebo things, as he said he believes he's the best back in the country, and he played like it. He really did play like it. And so I don't understand. And it is what it is. And we'll see what happens when you guys play Ohio State or Oregon. The way Ohio State's playing right now, they're playing really well. And you guys definitely did not play your greatest game today, but you did do it when the time mattered. That was the beginning of the game, and that was the end of the game. You could talk about Quinn Ewers. ASU was able to get pressure on Quinn Ewers, especially in the second half. Put him down on the ground, sack him, make him uncomfortable, make him throw the ball deep. It felt like almost every time Ewers threw the ball deep, it was an advantage for ASU, and then every once in a while it clicked. Every once in a while it turned out to be okay. And you have to give massive amounts of credit to Matthew Golden for that as well. Carlos says, I'm not concerned about Texas making any noise after this game. No need to get upset or defensive. Good game for both squads. Like, yo, saying that I'm crying. I'm just talking about it, man. Like, it is what it is. John says, what's important about this week is that ASU locked up Dilly. He can't leave after making the playoffs. Glares at DeBoer. Yeah, that's real. That's real. Texas fans, I get it. You can talk your trash here, but Patrick and Austin has it right. Texas fan here. First time watching Skattebo. Dude is incredible. All the respect. And you have to respect Cam Skattebo because he did it all. He caught, he ran, he threw, he did everything you possibly could against a Texas team that, like, Texas who's holding teams below 14 points per game this season. Below 2 touchdowns. Arizona State put up 31. Arizona State put up 31 against a defense that people said they wouldn't even be able to put up 7 over. Captain Redbeard, that's a pretty big deal, man. And I know you're busy back there, so I'm not going to make you talk. I apologize, but we got a lot going on here. Tom says it's rigged. Texas boy says, I watched Arizona State be short on 2 plays where the refs gave Arizona State first downs where they were short. Tell me which plays those were. Was it the QB sneak and the cam one at the end? Because he definitely got a first down there. Definitely got a first down there. If y'all want your chats read, you can drop a super chat. I'll try to read as many as possible. Of course, we went through by the numbers. We'll get to bottle service. We'll get to everything else. If you have something that you want to talk about in this post-game show, go ahead and let me no. Ghost Rider said this dude is a spinner. I like him. Listen, man, at the end of the day, I've absolutely loved every second of watching this team, and it's come down to a couple moments you wish you had back. Blitzing on 4th and 13, not making that tackle on the kick return there and let Texas run it back for 7. You found yourself down 14 points early. If that changes, if you came in and your defense is more locked in and ready after that long layoff, which I felt like they were going to be, if you were able to do that, completely different game. And we can talk about it ifs were fifths. I'm a Suns fan. Devin Booker, if ifs were fifths, we'd all be drunk. But in a game this close, when it comes down to double overtime and plays like that, you look back at those moments and you think to yourself, what if? What could have been? And it's a learning moment. It's a building moment. It's a build moment. It's a building moment for everything. And if you can't look back at this season and build on it as Arizona State, you've done something wrong, but they did it the right way. Coming out last night, extending Kenny Dillingham. We talked about it on this channel. We played it for you at halftime at a live watch-along as well. And locking Kenny up was the perfect move. The absolute perfect move, because Arizona State, and I can hear myself right now for something I did. Sorry, it's okay, Captain Redbeard. We're on the fly here over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Wild Horse Pass, Anthony Totri will be joining us. I just heard myself, and I realized what you guys were hearing. I appreciate y'all sticking around. Hit that like button if you can. But for Arizona State, you talked about going into this season improvement, right? Improving, watching the bamboo grow, and maybe competing for a bowl game. Maybe being in games against the Big 12's elite that you didn't expect, right? And then you turn around, and here you are. Before all that bamboo starts growing, before you were even a full season removed from a bowl ban and everything from there, you're in the college football playoffs, taking to a Texas team, an SEC team, a 14-point favorite, at a neutral site in Atlanta, in the Peach Bowl, in a New Year's Six Bowl, and you locked up your offensive coordinator, you locked up your defensive coordinator, you have a majority of your key players that can return coming back next season, and the head of the snake, Kenny Dillingham of it all, the man who pulled Cam Skattebo aside, the man who pulled Sam Leavitt aside when they were down, when they were out, when there was no hope, when Texas was dominating, and he kept their heads on straight, and he led this team into halftime, and what I would have given to be a fly on the wall for Kenny Dillingham at halftime, talking about what they needed to do. And you know what's a damn testament to that, man, is his team went out there and they listened. When everything was stacked against them, when they were too small, when they weren't talented enough, when everybody was betting against them, everybody on College Game Day picked against them, everybody said that they shouldn't even be talking about how confident they are in themselves. Arizona State went out there and they played suffocating defense until the very bitter end when they couldn't. And you know what? You can say that that's a detriment to them, that the defense crumbled in the biggest moment. You can look at it and you can change your perspective however you want, the same way that Texas fans are sitting here. And Texas fans are sitting here and talking about, oh, well, you just aced you crying and you never had a chance and the better team won. You can take that perspective, or you can take the perspective of respect, which you should be doing for this team, right? Or the perspective that, everybody is just, Texas, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can take either perspective. I choose to take the perspective of positivity here. As sad as I am, as disappointed as I am, that you cannot reach another level in the college football playoffs. Kenny Dillingham said it best himself. You are unequivocally playing with house money. We're playing with house money here on PHNX Sun Devils. About 300 of you in here live right now. Anthony Totri, he will be joining us live. We will have sound. We will have video from the postgame pressers from Arizona State, CJ Fight, Xavier Alford. We have all of that. Captain Redbeard's going to let me know what's ready to rip. And first, we are going to take a second break. Maybe you need to relax. Maybe after a long day, Colton True Leave can help you out. Because I know Colt Cannabis is always able to help me out when I've had a long and stressful day. It is the most premium flower that you can absolutely buy here in State 48, and they are available at your local True Leaf, which makes it that much easier to go and get it. The Valley has been asking for her. They've been chirping for Arizona State. They're also chirping for the Magic Marker as well. Sorry, that little burp there, but I'm getting through it. And I'm thinking about Colt Cannabis. Great flowers, hard to find these days. Luckily, our friends over at Colt Cannabis have been dropping absolute fire here at PHNX Studios and now at your local True Leaf. Make sure you check out the Magic Marker strain, which is a True Leaf exclusive, and make sure you check out the new True Leaf location opening in Maricopa on January 11th. Get over to TrueLeaf.com to find your local shop or place an order and tell them PHNX sent you. And also, want to give a massive shout out to Shady Rays. I am rocking my Shady Rays right now. I have had lights in front of my face since 10:30 a.m. Arizona time, 30 minutes before kickoff. I have been going nonstop except for halftime. I took a break and I ate a chicken sandwich. Other than that, I've been in this chair, in front of this camera, on this microphone for all of you, and it's only possible because my little eyes got me some Shady Rays, who of course are the best shades in the game. Different styles, but also different deals as well. I wear Shady Rays all the time. You can, and so have 300,000 people who have rated this world-class independent sunglass company over 5 stars. It's durable frames, crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor and indoor adventures, and all of that leads exclusively for our listeners to this. Shady Rays giving out their best deal ever. Head to ShadyRays.com. Use code PHNX for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated by 5 stars by over 300,000 people. We're going to peel the curtain back. I'm going to talk right to Redbeard. Redbeard, you can just pull it in. It's okay. You can just pull the clips in and you can play them and edit them, and I'm just going to listen to them, and I'm going to rip because we want to get some sound from CJ Fight and from Xavier Alford as well, and it's going to be okay because we're going to go here. But first and foremost, I want to thank all of you for being in here right now, just about 300 of you, and we are going to get to some of your super chats. Let's get it to Maze Devil, $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Maze Devil. Says, any Texas fan in here, before you talk, say your name and school you attended and graduated so we can have proper context. Joey with a $4.99 super chat, the third super chat on a live stream. Thank you, Joey. Says, all Texas fans, you got carried by the refs. Next week, going to get blown out by whoever wins between OSU and Oregon. Also, delusional fans. ASU, good job. I don't know if they called us delusional, but thank you, Joey. Joshua with a $4.99 super chat says, just gave Cam Skattebo with the Peach Bowl office that MVP for the first time, and the team lost and won my MVP. Wait, they gave Cam Skattebo the MVP? I don't know if that's true. I've not been able to check Twitter. I've just been ripping. That's really it. I gotta see if Cam Skattebo. Y'all let me know in the chat. There's no. Did they do that? I don't know. I'm not sure. I might be eating the trash here. Yeah, I think I'm eating the trash. There's no way that they did that. That would have been. Did they gave him? Did they give him the MVP? Yo, am I tripping right now? Wow. They gave Cam Skattebo the MVP? I mean, that's respect. That's absolute respect there. Wow. When an opposing team, yeah, you can talk about wins, and I get it. I'd rather win too. Talk your trash. I would talk my trash too if we won and we were that close. They gave Cam Skattebo the Peach Bowl MVP on the losing team. If that is not a nod to show you exactly who Cam Skattebo is, exactly who this team is, exactly who this identity is, and how that's going to carry on, and how Cam Skattebo has led the legacy for Arizona State. Most rushing yards in a single season, unseating Eno Benjamin, having over 250, almost 300 all-purpose yards between running, throwing, and receiving. My Lord, he is an incredible player. I don't think I've ever seen a player like Cam Skattebo. I don't think I've ever seen a football player on any level like Cam Skattebo. High school, college, NFL, and sure, you might argue there are some better. Maybe you're an Ashton Genty fan. Maybe you're going to look at the NFL and the greatest running backs there. I guess I won't sit here and say he's the greatest running back I've ever seen with my own eyes, but it's been somebody who's been at every single home game, who's been to road games, who's watched him practice, who's had the man on our show. He is unequivocally one of the greatest players I've ever seen touch with football, and a one-man band and a one-man show when they need him the most. Wow. Josh Hutchison, says yes. The Peach Bowl gave Cam Skattebo the offensive MVP. Thank you for multiple super chats. Joshua, Joey with a $1.99 super chat says Texas got to be the most delusional fans ever. I don't disagree with you. Tyler, thank you for a $1.99 super chat. Says Ruby appreciation chat. Great coverage all year. Coverage means nothing without all of you in here right now joining us along the ride. Listen, over the offseason, over last season, it was rough. There were some very hard games. There were some very, very tough moments in football, in basketball, and there were some tough moments for the Sun Devil community. But we pulled through, and dang it, we got to the other side stronger. And now we're set up to attack this offseason, attack this basketball season, do it together by joining our diehard, being in the diehard Discord. So many diehards here today during our watch-along on this very stream had multiple diehards bring up. Listen. Jordan Schultz, Espo just passes along to myself, said, for all the Cam Skattebo doubters out there, here's a fun note from an NFL scout. Not sure what he's going to run, nor do I care. You can't bring the dude down. That's a skill that translates to the pro level. I absolutely believe that Cam Skattebo is going to be an incredible NFL level running back, and he's going to be an all-time Arizona State University legend, and that is bar none, unequivocal. There will be great running backs that come after him. There have been amazing running backs that have come before him. We appreciate all of them, and maybe Cam Skattebo won't always be the best. Maybe in the future somebody's going to unseat him, but for right now, the man is a Sun Devil legend, and you just have to thank him for that. Man, I need a water. I'm going to ask Espo for a water.
Totree's here.
Totree's here? No way. I didn't expect to see him for another 6 hours.
Yeah, I know.
Guess what, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody across the nation, hold on to your seats because a man calling in with the greatest hair in the state of Georgia, it's Anthony Totree. Anthony Totree, Mr. Totree. I'm sad.
Yeah.
I'm slightly satisfied with the season. How can you not love this team? What is your initial reaction to a 39-31 double overtime thriller loss?
There are a lot of emotions, right? Obviously for us as a team that's covered it, but the players and the coaches, right? I think for me, the initial reaction is it shouldn't be over, right? This team was one play away on 4th and 13 from advancing to the college football playoff semifinals. You got to tip your cap to Quinn Ewers. They said it in post-game. He checked to a max protection. Arizona State couldn't get home. And Quinn dialed up a beautiful pass. And then at that point, Texas was back in it, right? The emotion here in the stadium for the entire second half was all Arizona State. In Texas fans didn't really get back into it till that touchdown. And then obviously they had that touchdown at the very end. The 2-point conversion that didn't really matter in hindsight at the very end of it. But, overall, this has been a pretty miraculous season, right? Like I tweeted out as soon as the game was final. Imagine if I would have read this tweet to you in August.
Hit me.
Right at the very start of the season. I tweeted. Let's find it. Jeez, I tweet a lot.
Yeah, you do.
I would have read this to you in Arizona's miraculous season comes to an end after a heartbreaking 31-39 loss to Texas in overtime of the college football playoff quarterfinals.
Man.
Imagine if I would have read that to you in August.
I mean,
this season, by no means, this is a success, right? This is
Yes.
one of the greatest seasons in Arizona State football history. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, it didn't go the way that this team wanted it down the stretch, that fans wanted it down the stretch, but you can't tell me that this team didn't belong. You can't tell me that this Arizona State team didn't belong in the college football playoff. And I'll tell you what, there are a lot of guys out on that field: Sam Leavitt, Ben Coleman, Jordan Tyson, who was on the sidelines, right? Javen Robinson, Keith Abney, that are going to be back, and they're going to remember this moment. This is not the last that you've seen of the Arizona State Sun Devils, and I know it's the end of this miraculous season, but I think it's just the beginning of a pretty remarkable run with Kenny Dillingham at the helm.
Well, we do have sound that you were able to grab out there, boots on the ground in Atlanta. We appreciate all of you joining us here right now as well. We have, I believe, is it CJ Fight that we have?
CJ Fight.
CJ Fight and his emotional response to the end of the Arizona State season.
Just one thing about this team, we always fight. You see it from the beginning of the season now, this team's always going to fight. Nobody thought we would even been in this game. You go into halftime, nobody thought we would been in this game. Everybody on this team fights. We love stuff like this. So I love this team. Appreciate everything they've done. I'm going to keep giving my all for this team. I know they're always going to keep it all to us. So congrats to Texas, but I love more here.
Totri, it's hard not to get a little teared up with that there. You can tell how much this means for CJ Fight, who represents the Sun Devils so well, but also to what this team means and what they mean to each other. And to go down in that moment, it's brutal. They tasted it. They tasted success. They tasted victory. They fought back from down double digits, from being absolutely dominated on the offensive side of the ball as far as Texas's defense goes. And it slipped right from their hands, and that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it absolutely is heartbreaking. And you see it on their emotion, right? On their faces. Like it was the same all the way across all the guys that I talked to. CJ Fight, Xavier Alford, Ben Coleman, Lee Fatanu, every single one of them had that same emotion in their eyes. And I think they had it right. Partly, yes, because the season's over, but partially because it was there. It was there for the taking, right? To be able to go and do it. And I don't know what you've said about the way that this team played.
A lot.
But Arizona State put together a masterclass of a second half.
Yes.
Against the best defense in college football. They scored 31 points. They put up over 500 yards of total offense. Cam Skattebo won offensive MVP in the Peach Bowl in a loss. Yes, it is. It is going to be bittersweet.
That's crazy. That is crazy. I literally had chat telling me that, Totri. I had chat telling me because I couldn't watch it. I didn't know what was going on. And chat was like, oh, by the way, they just gave Scat offensive or MVP. And I literally thought I was like eating the trash. Like I thought I was getting trolled. And I was like, no way, they did that. Everybody's like, yeah, they did that. What does that say about a player like Cam Skattebo? To be on a losing team, which stings, and you know that he would trade anything to get that win. But to get the honors of being the MVP of a game where your team didn't even walk away with a win.
I mean, he's the best running back in Arizona State history. Not even close. He holds the record now for single-season rushing yards, holds the record for single-season touchdowns, holds a record for single-season all-purpose yards.
Jeez.
He's that guy. He is an Arizona State Sun Devil, and I know there are a lot of people that just get to watch Cam Skattebo on this stage, right, or the stage of the Big 12 title game, and they're like, man, I love that guy. Why do they love that guy, right? Because he doesn't look like an NFL running back, but he is still one of the most gritty, just hard-nosed, passionate players that you have ever seen, right? And yes, that is what you see when you watch Cam Skattebo. But if you've been around this team, that's the team. That's what this Arizona State season has been. It's been a bunch of guys that don't look like NFL players, okay, that were backups at other schools that have come here. They found a home. They found a system offensively and defensively that they enjoy, right, where they feel like they can play the best. They love the environment. They love the culture. They love the coach. And they do this, right? They go out there and they prove doubters wrong. They didn't win this game, but they proved every doubter today wrong because they belonged in this game. They belonged in the college football playoff. and I'm going to say it so many more times from now until the start of the season. This team is going to be back. This team is 100% going to be back in the college football playoff. And this is a team that, as long as Kenny's at the helm, they have a chance to win the Big 12 every single season.
Well, let's hear from Kenny Dillingham. We talk about Cam Skattebo. Let's hear what Kenny has to say about what Anthony Totri has deemed the greatest running back in Arizona State history.
I mean, this is just a Tuesday for Cam. It is. This is Tuesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah, good
Days
point.
backwards.
Good point. He's a special player. I mean, he's somebody. I mean, yeah, it's just Cam. It's exactly what I expected. Bottom line, when you give him the ball, crazy things happen. We saw a man earlier in the game. He runs the side of that. I got to win a go ball. I'm like, I agree. And we found a way to get him a go ball, and he makes the play. And that's just Cam.
And you saw Cam on the sidelines after the game, just bent over, just distraught at the result of this game. But you have to imagine that when he looks back at his performance and what he's done on a personal level as a player, you have to be more than proud of yourself for the type of season, the Heisman level season that Cam Skattebo proved on the biggest stage.
I mean, this guy touched the ball 38 times and was thrown up on the sideline.
Yep.
Right? Like, what more could you ask from this guy? He is, like I said, he's the best running back in Arizona State history. And I don't know if you'll ever see another like Cam Skattebo. And again, not because of him going to go to the NFL and be the best running back that the NFL has ever seen, but because of what he's meant to this program in doing it every single way possible, right?
Yep.
Cam Skattebo on 4th and 2 threw a 42-yard touchdown pass in the college football playoff.
That's insane.
And then proceeded later in the game to catch like a 40-yard pass and then run it in for a touchdown and then get the 2-point conversion. Mind you, this guy was the team's best punter just a year ago. This kid did it all for Arizona State. Why? Because he's a Sun Devil. And that's why I think his performance game in, game out resonates so much with everybody on a national stage. And you know what? I don't think there's a lot of people out there that are it's just, yeah, it's hard to put into words, man.
It is.
It really
we're going to
is.
continue to try to do that. We're going to be giving out our bottle service, our Sanderson Ford drive of the game, and of course, closing time and more sound from your Arizona State Sun Devils, who came so close to advancing in the college football playoffs, but we are going to do it after our final break. ASU just need a little bit extra gas. They should have gone to Sanderson Ford, man. Sanderson Ford would have helped put it over the line because Sanderson Ford is not only the largest Ford dealership in the nation at 65 acres, not only when you add up all the sales, including retail and fleet, they sell more Fords than anyone in the nation. Sanderson Ford is also America's, not Arizona's, America's most awarded Ford dealership for customer satisfaction. There's a restaurant on site called the Starliner Diner, and what does that mean? That means they're here to make it easy for you to make the right decision. No hassle, no pressure, no nonsense. That's their approach. Not here to put you in the wrong car with a high monthly payment, and now you're looking back and saying, man, I got screwed, man, I got played by a car salesman that could talk their butt off. No, they're here to make sure that you get the right vehicle in the right way. Get a new 2024 F-150 truck with 3.9 APR financing for 66 months, plus up to $4,000 cash back with similar savings on over 900 new and pre-owned vehicles on the lot. We appreciate all of you jumping in here. And I also want to say a big thank you to Gila River Resorts and Casinos. There's not a lot of people behind me right now. In fact, it is damn empty. But it doesn't matter because it was packed with Sun Devil faithful, and you should have been here during the big plays, the missed field goals, the Javen Robinson interception, the 42-yard touchdown pass from Cam Skattebo. All of that coming right here at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass. I was jumping around. I was celebrating. It's the first time I've really got to cheer and yell for this team because I've not been in the press box or out of the press box that often, and it was a wonderful experience. But it's not just our watch parties here. They have so much live table games, restaurants from upscale to approachable, staycations to just a night out of fun. Gila River Resorts and Casinos is unequivocally the place to go if you're trying to have a good time in Arizona. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details. Well, buried the lead here. I don't know if anybody else expected this, but it's time for bottle service. And that goes to
Cam Skattebo.
We're waiting.
It's got to.
There it is.
Got
There it is. The man, the myth, the legend. When it comes to all-purpose yards today, Totri, 99 receiving yards with 143 rushing yards. That is 252 yards or 242 yards, and then add 42 on top of that passing. So we're talking 284. 284 all-purpose yards passing, rushing, receiving. I know you've already said who he is and who he means to the school, but at the end of the day, Cam Skattebo is simply that dude.
He's simply the best.
Simply
that's it.
the
That's all you
best.
can say. That's all you can say, right? I mean, him and you are 1 and 2. I mean, just got to tip the cap to Eric Ruby here for going live and being able to do this for, 3+ hours at this point?
3?
Show
Totri.
some love,
Totri.
Ruby.
Totri.
You,
Hold
4,
your
5,
horses.
6? I don't know
Buddy,
how many hours you've been live, dude.
Went live at 10:30 for a pregame show. Okay, pregame show was 30 minutes long. That was light work. We are now on hour 5. We just crossed the 5-hour mark. And if you are watching on TV, this might be early, but of course, party always continues. Over to gophnx.com. We have been live 5 hours on this stream. I have been non-stop talking, but Totri, it's your turn. It seemed like ASU left a lot on the bone, and also that comes from Sam Leavitt. Sam Leavitt, not the most satisfying stat line, 24-46, 222 yards and an interception. He did not have a lot to work with when it came to on-the-field pressure and time. What did you think from the redshirt freshman out there on the biggest stage?
Yeah, I think it took a while to get settled in, right? And I think you really, really saw early on in this game, Texas came out fast. They came out and they were exactly what everybody thought they were going to be, right? This is the number 1 defense in college football. They were dominant. They were forcing Leavitt to run all over. He didn't have his top wide receiver, right? Like, this was an 8-point ball game, and Arizona State's arguably their second best player didn't play today. Right?
Yeah.
Like it. So yeah, the stat line's not great. I mean, I think everybody saw today that you can look at a box score and you can see the numbers and not get the full story, because Sam Leavitt was running for his life today. When this team needed him, he made plays. Right? There was a 3rd and 15, I think, at one point, whether it might have been an overtime, where he scrambled for a first down.
He scrambled for the first time to get right into the red zone.
Right, to set up that touchdown. Like, this kid, similar to Scat, did it all for this team. And, the best part about it is he's only a redshirt freshman next year, obviously a redshirt sophomore. And, as much as this stings, him getting this experience this early on in his college career is going to be so, so huge for him down the stretch. He's not going to see another Texas team like this. He's not going to see a team like this, like the Texas Longhorns, until this team potentially gets back to the college football playoff. This moment was huge. I don't think the moment was too big for him. I think he tried to make a play at the very end there that wasn't necessarily there, right? And it ultimately ended the game, ended the season. But at the end of the day, again, I'm still going back to that 4th and 13 that Texas converted for a touchdown. Yeah, and mind you, I don't know if you talked about this. I don't want to interrupt. But for every Texas fan that said Arizona State didn't belong in this game, Ohio State is beating up on Oregon right now, 24-0, with 9 minutes left in the second quarter. So,
dude, we had Texas fans come here and be like, "How could you be proud how could you be talking about it after a loss?" And it's like, I wish they would have won. I absolutely would, but they proved that they deserve to be here. They proved unequivocally. And part of that, we're going to get to sound from Sam Leavitt here in just a second. And Sam, I want to say this, he's going to be special. I think he already is special. As far as the second half of the season goes, there were not many better quarterbacks in all of college football. And today, I wouldn't say he was rattled, but I think he definitely got emotional. The moment was big, but he settled in. He settled down. And with an offensive line that also did the same, at the same time, which was get off to a rough start and then settle down over time, Sam was able to deliver in some of the biggest moments, whether it was a pass to Cam Skattebo for 62 yards, whether that was running for the first down in overtime. He really is somebody who this program can rely upon to elevate them for seasons going forward if he does decide to come back, which, as we talked about, a lot of signs do point to that. Let's hear what Sam Leavitt had to say after Arizona State lost the Peach Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to, cherish, really cherish everything that comes with the season. It's so special, and this group of guys is so special, especially, the two sitting next to me, the amount of time that I spent with them and, just the work that we put in. It's just going to hurt me not to be with him next year. Obviously I got another year, but I'm just going to go into this next season and, not take anything for granted, off-season workouts, the late nights in the facility and everything like that. So, yeah.
It's emotional. It's emotional and it's real and it's raw. But at the end of the day, this is an opportunity for Sam Leavitt to return next season, to put Arizona State on his shoulders, and to do what he wasn't able to do this season. Like he said, use it as motivation. Totri, this could end up being a long-term positive for a kid like Sam Leavitt in his career.
Yeah, I mean, again, this moment, right? Being able to have this moment as a young buck, you're on a national stage. Arizona State finished as one of the final 8 teams in college football. And Sam Leavitt threw an interception at the very end that, again, it shouldn't have had to get to that point. And this game is by no means on Sam Leavitt. So anybody who wants to say it is doesn't know what the heck they're talking about. But yeah, you saw the emotion, right? He's going to miss having Cam Skattebo. Everyone's going to miss having Cam Skattebo. But in terms of, potentially making this and turning it into a positive, you don't forget those types of feelings, right? And nobody forgets the heartbreak that you experience at least once in your life, whether it be because of a job or a relationship or a moment like this, right? That's going to stick with Sam Leavitt for the rest of his life. And that is something that, all year long it was doubting, right? All year long it was the doubter said we couldn't do it. The doubter said we couldn't do it. The doubter said we can do it. Moving forward, now what this does, this moment, it's given Sam and the rest of the guys coming back another chip, right? Another chip on your shoulder where it's not even external at that point. It has nothing to do with the doubters now.
No.
It is, we were on this stage and we were a play away. That doesn't leave. You go into every game now, next season, knowing that and keeping that in mind, right? They were sitting there. Sam, after he threw that interception, was just standing midfield, right? When Texas players were running down the sideline, right? Storming the field, having the time of their life. You don't forget that.
No.
Right? And it is certainly something that could be turned into a positive mentally moving forward the next season. I will say one other thing that I wanted to bring up. I see people talking about it in the chat. If that wasn't targeting, then I don't know what targeting is. And targeting doesn't exist. It is a stupid rule. That was 100% targeting by definition. And ultimately, I'm not saying that Arizona State would have gone on to win the football game, right? But it would have been first down in Texas territory. Arizona State would have had a chance with all the momentum in the world. It should have been the Sun Devils kicking a game-winning field goal as time expired, not Texas. You took that away because of a very, very bad call from the refs here.
Yeah, and it was. And Texas fans are going to say, you're crying about the refs, you're crying about the refs. I get it. You would say the same thing if the roles were reversed, and it is what it is. I was in this live watch-along, man. I had Texas fans jumping in and out depending on what was going on with the game, and literally all of them were like, the refs are in your pocket. Literally talking about the refs being in Arizona State's pocket, and that just absolutely floored me. We have another super chat from Joshua. Joshua's been on fire with the super chats. $4.99. Thank you. Says, I'm officially donating $50 a month to Arizona State football for NIL. I know it's not much, but I'm going to support financially now. ASU, let's go. That's all you need to do. You don't need to give a lot. You can give $5 one time. Keep guys like Sam Leavitt here in the Valley, because at the end of the day, it really is an NIL game. Speaking of a game, there is not one. Ohio State absolutely running Oregon right now. 31-0.
Yeah.
Somebody showed up to play
Does Oregon belong? Does Oregon belong?
Don't think so, Totri.
Right? Yeah.
Don't think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
People are that's what bugs me, dude. Is we had for what 2 weeks? 2 weeks we had a bunch of Texas fans, and there have been some good ones. There have been some fun ones, and I know there's a lot
I
of them
will
going
I
back
will
and forth.
say real quick, Totri, I'm sorry to cut
Um,
you off. If you're watching on TV, party always continues over at GoPHNX.com. Only reason I would ever cut Anthony Totri off is to do that. Totri, I'm so sorry. The floor is now
No,
yours,
you're good.
man.
You're good. There's just been a lot, right? A lot is said. And if you are a fan of college football, whether you are Arizona State or Texas or whatever, and you watch this game and you think that this team in the maroon and gold didn't belong in this game, then I highly encourage you to go be a fan of another sport because you don't know what the hell you are talking about.
Yep.
This team, yes, it was 17-3 at midway through the first half, right? And Arizona State, if you think about it, was not playing very bad. Defense had given up one touchdown, right, in two
Special
plays,
teams gave up a
mind you,
touchdown.
right? Special teams gave up a touchdown, and you held them to a field goal. Defense was playing extremely well without a key piece in Shamari Simmons, who was out in the first half of that game because they wanted to call targeting in the second half of the Big 12 title game. But again, we don't know what targeting is, so it doesn't matter, right? Blah, 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 blah. But offensively, to put up over 500 yards of offense without your star wide receiver, with a redshirt freshman quarterback, while your running back is throwing up on the sideline, and you still want to sit here and tell me that Arizona State didn't belong in this game, go be a fan of rugby. Go be a fan of anything else because you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
No, you don't, and there's just some bias. It is what it is. We do have so much more sound from you coming down from Anthony Totri, who's sending it over. Shane Diefenbach editing, boots on the ground in Atlanta. We got Scat on his illness. Talk about that throwing up. Let's rip that real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I threw up. I threw up. I drank too much water too fast, and I was kind of feeling sloshy, and then felt better after. So
Puke and rally.
You know, I felt a lot better after throwing up. You know, and that's when it all started. You know, I had a rough first half. I wasn't feeling too good. That second half, it was a different ball game. So.
Puke and rally.
Puke and rally.
Do we need a new shirt, Totri? Oh my gosh. 6 hours in, my voice cracked. Mark it down. 6 hours in, my voice cracked.
Puke and rally from your head. I mean, how can you not love these guys, man?
How? I don't know how.
How can you not root for them? Right? This is, again, mind you, I would also just like to point this out, and I know it's going to come across as boohoo. Cam Skattebo wasn't a Heisman finalist. He had 250 plus yards of total offense today for the Arizona State Sun Devils against the number one defense in college football, but wasn't a Heisman finalist. Meanwhile, Dylan Gabriel, quarterback for the Oregon Ducks, was a Heisman finalist. They're getting throttled 31-0 right now in Oregon's punting to Ohio State.
Jeez, already? I looked down for 5 seconds.
Just going to say that also Travis Hunter in Colorado, they didn't make the CFP, and Boise State got eliminated last night. So just again, just want to throw that out there. And Cam Ward and company, Cam Ward gave up on his team in the second half of their bowl game against Iowa State. So go ahead, sit there and tell me that Cam Skattebo isn't one of the valued players in all of college football. I'll wait for you to have an argument.
Sorry, you cut out there a little bit, so I'm sorry for interrupting you. We do have more sound from Cam Skattebo that I want to get to. And actually, before we do that, you mentioned in your comment about the targeting and everything like that. And there are a lot of Texas fans saying that it wasn't targeting and that we're stupid and blah, 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 which is it's kind of what they do a lot. This is what Kenny Dillingham had to say on the non-targeting call.
In terms of the targeting, I mean, I want to be honest, I don't know what targeting is. We lost one of our best players in the first half for targeting. And I just don't know. I just don't know what it is. So I don't want to comment on something that I have to get a better grasp of what it is. Just because it's so, I just don't quite understand it. I do just want to protect the players, though. So whatever rules are put in place to protect the players, I'm all about.
Yeah, nobody understands it. I wish we understood it. It doesn't make any sense, man.
What's targeting? That right there is the definition of targeting.
Yeah.
If you don't I don't get it. If the coach is saying that afterwards, right? He is furious.
It's awful.
Yeah.
What did he say? You could read their lips on the thing. Absolutely awful. What's even more awful is they had to review that instead of throwing the flag when that happened.
Right.
It's just it's asinine for anybody to watch that back in slow motion and tell me that was not targeting.
I mean, the whole point of
The rule
targeting is
needs
to
to be
protect the player.
fixed. The rule needs to be fixed, or at least there needs to be a clearer definition of what that is, because that right there, by the definition of the rule, is targeting. And not only was it targeting, it cost a team in a college football playoff a moment, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable as well. In just a second, I'm going to play another soundbite from Kenny asking if he thought that they were the better team. I think for targeting, the whole point of the rule is to make sure players are safe. And I think the one thing you saw with Melquan Stovall there is that he absolutely was not safe. Right? He was completely laid out, completely motionless. And that was one reason why Arizona State led to a loss. I think there was a lot more. You do have to give credit to Texas where credit is due, but Arizona State played one hell of a game. Incredible in the second half. Like you mentioned, Chotri, they played fine in the first half, just couldn't capitalize on opportunities, and vice versa for the Texas Longhorns, who barely had the ball and was able to score. This is what Kenny Dillingham had to say when he was asked if Arizona State was the better team.
At the end of the day, the best team is the team that wins the football game. Bottom line, and that's a really good football team we faced. That's one of the best teams in the country, and they've built that thing over 4 years to get to where they're at. And I have the utmost respect for Sark and that entire football team, and I know our team does as well, because that was a battle. But when you look at it, did we belong on the field? I think a lot of people were questioning that, and I don't think any person questions if we belonged on the field. Now, there are no moral victories when the season ends. There's no such thing. This should hurt. This should be painful. The locker room is dreadful right now, and it should be. If it wasn't, something would be wrong. But at the same token, now that this is over, I really am going to challenge our guys to reflect on where it all started, because it really is remarkable. And, like I said, I won't be able to sleep for a while, but I will reflect immediately, because it's an incredible season. And what these two guys did this year is absolutely, unbelievable. And everybody should have the utmost respect for what both of those guys did, not just being the players they are, but the leaders of the football team.
And you absolutely love what Kenny's saying there. The flip, it's what this entire postgame show has been about. You're sad and you're upset about them losing. You're sad about how they lost and the fact that they absolutely could win, and they snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. But at the end of the day, it's hard not to be satisfied and happy as a Sun Devil fan. He talked about the people next to him. Of course, he's talking about Sam Leavitt. He's talking about Cam Skattebo. This is Cam Skattebo talking about Kenny Dillingham and Sam Leavitt.
ASU's changed my life forever, in a good way. Simple. They've supported me through everything, put me in a position to be successful. So I thank everybody in the ASU community, and Coach Dillingham and his staff, and this kid next to me right here. They changed my life forever.
Yeah, and Cam Skattebo also, for the first time in 26 years, it hasn't happened for the Peach Bowl. A losing team's player won the Peach Bowl MVP, and I believe that is the final soundbite that we have from Cam Skattebo talking about that.
All right, I think that's a good place to end it. If you guys will sit tight for 1 second, Cam, we've got something to present to you.
In 26 years, we've never had a puke award. But no, this is in 26 years, we've never had to be able to do this. And with about 7 minutes left, the media voted Scat as the MVP. And so the offensive MVP of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Scat, congratulations.
Now, I misread the tease. I thought Scat was going to talk about it. That was him getting presented. Obviously, Cam Skattebo and Kenny Dillingham, they go hand in hand. We do actually have one more clip from Scat talking about Kenny, and those two mean so much to Arizona State, so much to this program, and they will forever. Of course, Kenny's going to be around for a long, long time with the extension. Scat is gone after this season. He's played his final game as an Arizona State Sun Devil. This is what he had to say about his head coach.
Yeah, Coach Dillingham's got the longest future in coach history, I promise. And then, this kid next to me, he's going to play on Sundays. I'm going to play on Sundays. So us three right here, you know, we got a long life ahead of us. This is just the beginning for us. No matter what, these guys will be in my life forever. So it's awesome that I was able to play football for and with them. And, you know, I'm happy to be in the position I am. And, you know, for him to put me in a role to be successful, and then, you know, Sam executing to help me be successful. I just hats off to those guys, and, you know, I love those guys.
Peanut butter and jelly, the sun and the moon, two peas in a pod. Anthony Totri, Kenny Dillingham, and Cam Skattebo will go down as one of the greatest head coach running back duos in college football history.
Yeah, no doubt. It's the best on the West Coast. And there's been some really good ones, some really, really good ones. Obviously, the best in Arizona State history. And again, you know, the reason I think this stings so much for everybody is because it was there, right? It was there. This team should be celebrating right now. But, you know, it's sports. It's sports. I'll tell you one thing. This game was an instant classic. And people are going to remember the 2024 Peach Bowl for the rest of their lives. Whether you were watching the game from home, whether you were in attendance for that game, this game is an instant classic in college football history, in college football playoff history. You are going to tell your kids' about the day that Cam Skattebo had against the Texas Longhorns in the miraculous season that was 2024 for Arizona State.
Absolutely. And speaking of a miraculous season, Ben Coleman, offensive lineman, leader of this team, one of the best offensive linemen in the Big 12. He spoke to you, Anthony Totri, after the game about this ASU team making history.
History. We made history. That was our goal from the beginning. I think it was really important for all the guys to understand that. It's like, look how far we came, right? I mean, they talk about 16th place, but a whole bunch of guys that were underestimated, written off. And to get to this point, I think the reality is that we're still upset to this point. We didn't want to just get to this point. We want to keep going. But now we've set the standards that this is what it can become when you fully dedicate yourself to an entire offseason each and every day. That this is what it can become. This is the result. When you give yourself an opportunity, and through preparation and hard work, this is what happens. So obviously not the end result, but the reality is we have another year. And I think, you know, it sets a precedent for future guys that are coming to play at Arizona State is that, you know, this is what we do. We want to compete for championships, and now we're in a position that we do compete for championships.
Wow, I found somebody who talks as fast as me. That's crazy. And I think he laid it perfectly. They laid the foundation out. This is he has another year. He will be returning, and they laid the foundation. Somebody who will not be coming back, as we mentioned a couple times, Cam Skattebo. This is what Coleman had to say for blocking for the Heisman-level running back.
I think it's an honor. I think that's something that's really cool when you go back, of course, I'm an ASU alum, to really tell my kids, you know, in the future is that, you know, what are some people you played with that are pretty fun? You got to put on some Cam Skattebo highlights, see their dad blocking, this cat doing his, you know, magical things. I think it'll be pretty cool in the future.
And finally, wrapping up the sound bites that we're going to play for you today, there has been a very vocal leader on this team, one that did not get to play football last year, a former Texas Longhorn himself, that is Xavier Alford. And this team believes in themselves to the max level and degree, and in fact, so much to the point that people started to hate them for the belief in themselves. After this brutal game, this is what Xavier Alford had to say about that belief that they hold so deep down.
Belief, you know, it never wavers through this team. You know, like I said, we can be down by 21 points, 28 points, and we still believe that we can win the game, you know, on the sideline, on the coaches. Like, it's not just fake energy, it's there, it's in our souls. You know, we feel like we can compete. And like I said, just to see where these guys have come since January, and you know where we came to, it's just a blessing to be here with these guys.
And this is also what Xavier Alford had to say on what this season meant to him.
It's just been an honor. It's been a blessing. Really something you can't, you know, put words on it. You know, for me, you know, to, you know, come here and, you know, want to help Coach Dillingham rebuild this program, and, you know, me putting everything I have, all these guys that we have, putting everything they have into this program, you know, and buying into Coach Dilly's culture and buying into what the coaches are saying, you know. And for us to come this far, you know, it just shows you how close we are, and you know, how engaged, how much we really want it, how much we want to compete, how much we want to win, you know, things of that nature. But it's just, like I said, it's just a blessing, you know, for my story where I've come here, and I wouldn't rather do it anywhere else or any other school than Arizona State.
Arizona State has embodied an identity, a never say die attitude, the underdogs taking on Goliath, and the slingshot just missed by about half an inch tonight. But it is time for the Sanderson Ford drive of the game. The deals are back at Arizona's largest Ford dealerships, Anderson Ford. Shop America's most awarded Ford dealership with no hassle, no pressure, and no nonsense. Maybe one of the shortest drives of the game that we have ever done. It is a 3-play drive. Arizona State down 24-16 in the final quarter of the Peach Bowl, down to the Texas Longhorns. And it plays, well, it starts off 1st and 10 at the Texas 17. Sam Leavitt, pass complete to Cam Skattebo for 62 yards, a first down, plus a Texas penalty with a face mask as well. And that was the moment where you felt like this got real. Arizona State can do this, right? Then defensive pass interference as well, as a pass is incomplete from Sam Leavitt to Kyson Brown. That's going to move Arizona State to 1st and goal at the Texas 2. Cam Skattebo runs for 2 yards in for a touchdown, and then Skattebo runs it in for a 2-point conversion. At that point, Totri, 24-24 ASU, how can that not be the biggest moment, the biggest drive of the game?
Yeah, I'm still at a loss for words.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely. I think you could point to probably every drive in this second half as the drive of the game, right?
That's fair.
This drive, the third quarter started with 2 sacks and a great tackle by Caleb McCullough, ultimately forcing a punt, right? You could talk about the missed field goals, right? Those drives for Texas. You could talk about the touchdown pass. You could go into overtime if you wanted to. It could say the drive of the game was literally the drive where Texas came back, 4th and 13 touchdown. You could make it the last drive of the game. Like, that's how good of a football game this was.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and again, it's a lot to process, and it's a lot of emotions for everybody. This game will go down again, and I know I've already said it. I'm sure you've said it. This is gonna be one of the greatest games in college football history. And it didn't necessarily go the way that Arizona State wanted it, but this team wanted to make history, and they did in a number of ways. And again, they're on the losing end here. But the fight that they showed in this ball game is, it goes to show that the Big 12 is legit, right? It's for real, and you need to respect it the way that you respect the Big 10, the way that you respect the SEC. You need to show this conference respect, because there are some good teams in this Big 12 conference that gave Arizona State a run for their money a number of times this season. And Arizona State was a play away from beating Texas, a team that and I said this to the guy next to me, the only team that played Texas the way Arizona State did today was Georgia. The only team. And even then, if you go back and watch those games, Georgia offensively didn't even sniff what Arizona State managed to do today. And again, Arizona State did it without the number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah, it was an incredible season from Arizona State. We're going to get to closing time here in a second. We are going to wrap up. I'm coming at about 6 hours straight of being on air for everybody who has stuck it out. At one point, we had over 2,000 people in here. I appreciate all of you who have stuck it out until the bitter end. Hit that like button. If you're not already to subscribe to PHNX Sports, hit 35,000 subscribers today. And I just want to take this time to give my final thoughts on this season, on this game, in Arizona State as a whole. Now, this is a team that a year ago today, I came over from my former job, and I joined Anthony Totri as a spot fill-in guest to help bridge the gap as he needed a co-host and help cover a team that was in the middle of dismay, a 3-9 season, a basketball season that was going off of the rails. And as somebody who attended ASU, who had his previous job, ran all the radio broadcasts for ASU basketball, for ASU football, and has been in tune with this team, it's so incredible to look back at it all, to look back at this journey, to look back at the offseason, to look back at the players and how far they've all come, from a Sam Leavitt, who was new, to a Cam Skattebo, who was returning, to a Kenny Dillingham, who you saw the process. You saw everything laid out piece by piece. You saw the vision. You saw the bamboo, and you said to yourself, one day, eventually, they're going to get there, because we have faith. We have faith that ASU is being led by the right people, going through an athletic director, changing that to Graham Rossini, somebody who believes, somebody who invests. ASU as a whole, the athletic department, Michael Crow turning and investing into Arizona State football. It all led to this, and it all led to the most miraculous season I think I've ever witnessed with my own 2 eyes. While it was disappointing, deflating the way that it ended, there is absolutely zero people who wear maroon and gold, who support maroon and gold, and have ASU in their blood, that should walk away with their head head low with the disappointment in their eyes. Sure, it sucks that you didn't win, and it sucks that you could have, but you competed, you hung in there, and you gave it your all, and there is nothing that you can look back on this season and say, we regret that. We regret not doing this. We regret not doing that. Everything happened for a reason, and the best part about it all is that your Sun Devils, they are far from over as far as competing in the Big 12 and on a national stage, and that is exactly what has been set as a precedent tonight. They belong in the elite of the college football, and if you don't believe it now, well, guess what? They're going to make you believe next year, and if you continue to doubt, that's on you. That's not on them. And now it is time to wrap up this show, to wrap up 6 hours straight of being on air with closing time, and this segment is powered by Neutral. Keep it tasty, Tempe, and enjoy responsibly. Anthony Totri, you said you had no more words. Well, I just have 3 words for you. Gave it all. From throwing up on the sideline to battling from being down double digits in a game where you were 2 touchdown dogs against an SEC team, a team that was favored to win it all multiple points this season, your Arizona State Sun Devils gave it all. And unfortunately, it wasn't enough, but it was enough to be proud of them, enough to be excited, and enough to continue to support this team, to support this program, and to support all these players, whether they come back next year or wherever their journey takes them. As far as our journey, that is going to end today. We will have more coverage for you as far as PHNX sports go, if I even have a voice by that point. Big shout out to Anthony Totri, boots on the ground in Georgia. Him and Shane Diefenbach did a fantastic job covering and getting all of the post-game sound, calling in, sending in stuff for the pregame show. If you're not already following at Anthony_Totri and you're an ASU fan, you're a college football fan, well, then I just don't know what you're doing. Make sure you give him a follow, as he's one of the hardest workers in this sport, and you will absolutely not regret it, as ASU now enters an offseason, which is where this man really starts eating, especially when you join our diehard Discord. It is all the behind-the-scenes recruiting updates and information that you could possibly need. Go phnx.com/join to make sure you join our diehard Discord specifically for that man, Anthony Totri. For Kyle, Captain Redbeard, behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen. How I've been on air, Kyle has not only been on air with me at certain points, he's been producing, making thumbnails, adjusting on the fly, talking during all of it. He has been an absolute superstar, and there is zero chance that we are all here today in the state that this show is without Kyle, without Captain Redbeard. The chat knows it. The diehards know it. Anthony Totri knows it. I know it. We all know it. Huge shout out to him. And of course, the fans, the chat, our diehards, everybody who was in here, whether you were part of the over 2,000 that were here for the watch along or here at the 158 who have stuck it out a full 6 hours to the end. Every single one of you is what makes this work. Make sure you follow the show at PHNX_Sun Devils as we go through ASU men's basketball season, recruiting season, transfer portal, everything else ASU football. And of course, we will be back to cover this team next year. You can follow myself at ERIKRUBY, and Totri, I'm going to let you end it the way that you always end every single show.
Oh, man. Go Devils. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.